Well, good morning to Uber Tuberubers and Tuberettes alike. I think this is Wednesday morning. Yeah, so that makes sense. We went in yesterday. I was going to talk a little bit about the job. I've got kind of some strange stuff on my mind today. You know, you would tune in to listen to short talks in the park with an old guy. Well, okay, it's a trailer park, okay, get over it. I'm just too lazy to walk across the street. I got 30 or 40 minutes before I'm going into work. And this way you can see my eyes. Oh, by the way, over here on this side, I'm kind of clouding up. It's a cataract, as the doctor informed me probably several months ago. So finally, on a Sunday, not too far back, a week or two ago, I finally got around to calling the doctor here in town, and that he recommended, and I thought it was a good recommendation because um, he was the original guy that looked and saw the retina tear. Now he didn't do the work. He shot me over to that crazy uh, surgery factory in El Paso. But never mind. I think he's going to do the work here in town. And so anyway, I hope to clear up some vision on the right. Uh, I'm really kind of losing focus and stuff. It's kind of like having a a translucent sheet or plastic sheet. You know, the ones that are not really clear. Okay, enough of that about the health stuff. See, old guys are always talking about crap like this. And see, I was thinking about this. You know, if you're sitting around listening to old guys, what do you wait? You're probably going to hear about, oh, my sore back. Oh, I got, this chronic, whatever health thing. And I thought, there's a thing here in that's so basic to humans that I often just frankly overlook it. I ignore it. Face it, Mike. Am I going to die? Well, I would say the odds are remarkably high, and the answer would be yes, if you consider those in the past. As far as we know, there's two people that somehow, by the grace of God or His power or whatever, didn't die. And as I understand it, it's Enoch and Elijah. Enoch walked with God and was not. And Elijah got on some kind of chariot thing, which I have no idea. Some people speculate it's a UFO. I don't go there. They called it a chariot. And he was able to throw his cloak out. So, I mean, what is this? So, at any rate, and Elisha picked up the cloak. Now, when you have the thing passing on from one generation to another, and you get death as a result, wouldn't death be one of those topics that old guys you would kind of expect to have that thing pop up from time to time? But I got to thinking about death last night some, and I resigned myself to it in the Lord's hands, should He see fit. I've told Him my ambition, and I've told you my ambition. I want to live long enough, and I'm confident that some will. There will be survivors. There will be Christian believers standing on this world in the flesh when the King arrives. I think that's actually true. But the point is whether that's going to be me or you. So I got to thinking in terms of death, probably the weirdest thing that strikes me about it is that if you can imagine, there's a kind of a device, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a rolling gear affair, very raggedy looking when you look in, and they could take, like, say, a clothes washer or a refrigerator and throw it in there, and it will eat it. It just tears it devours it. Now I don't know if it could do a car because the steel's getting pretty thick there, but why not? At any rate, if you can imagine walking voluntarily into one of those things, sounds like a bad idea, like a fiery furnace, yeah? And but you'll be all burned to pieces and just little floaters and nothing but boom. That same person still coheres as a person beyond death. Now, in the Christian's case, that person goes to, as they say, be with Christ. But they'll be, as far as we know, aware. They're not going to be like in a sleep mode or, kind of when you have your computer and you just turn it off. No, it's the person will still be aware. They're still the same person, less the body. That's weird. And this is some of the Christian teaching, and I got to thinking about it. The good news is kind of right around in this area somewhere. That essentially what the King is telling us is that what's going to happen. Go ahead and throw the person into that terrible grinder thing, okay? You get meatloaf out the bottom. Yeah. You get essentially pink paste. And so the idea is um, that somehow is reconstituted. Now, not as when you originally were conceived in the womb and then born by your mother into this world, that was an organic growth pattern, and you've arrived however far along you are. You might be 20, you might be 50, you might be 100. But however many years of development it took you to get here, moment by moment, um, that person in that same essentially body can be reconstituted and shall be most certainly reconstituted on the far side. On the far side, what? In another creation. So, I mean, it's a big idea, okay? and everything's kind of riding on this because Jesus is saying that there is good news amidst all this mayhem and chaos. And speaking of mayhem and chaos, I was watching Buddy Brown for a few minutes today. And I like Buddy, okay, but he was saying essentially he believes, this is how crazy things are getting, that the beaver population in Mississippi and perhaps Louisiana, Texas, is being altered by the feds in white vans, and they're letting beavers go run around and build new homes and new dams, thus creating new floodplains and eminent domain control. And I thought, wow, that's a lot to take in one morning. So when we think about bad ideas like that, here's another bad idea. One of the young guys I work with went to a wine festival. Now, if you can imagine going to a restaurant, okay, now let's say it's an outdoor restaurant, all right? There is no shade. You have to stand there for like an hour and a quarter to pay $44 for one glass of wine. Would you do it? No, it sounds like a terrible idea. But there was a wine fest across the Rio out the fairgrounds. I didn't even remember it had happened, but it was over Memorial Day weekend. And I don't know which day he went. I think it was Sunday. But the point is, he costs $35 to get in. And then if you want to wait around in the sunshine, you can wait about an hour and a quarter with this huge mob of people and pay $9 when you finally get to the front to get one glass of wine. Well, you wouldn't in any case ever sit down and say, hey, I've got a great idea. Let's go down and pay $44 in the sunshine for basically one glass. And it's like when people get involved in these things and right in the middle of them, they somehow kind of lose the idea that this is a really bad idea. So in terms of really bad ideas, it's a really bad idea to skip over or pretend that I'm not going to die, that I, Mike Labor, am somehow bulletproof or something. I won't die. Maybe everybody else will, but not me. That kind of idea, that's got to go. That's part of the old man in Adam, and Adam is denying death. But the death in the Bible isn't necessarily just when a body falls over into the grave. Death is separation from God. It's an alienation. It's like a divorce decree, and it's being enforced. There's a barrier now between the two parties, and what's in between is sin, disobedience, high treason. Ask our so-called leaders about that. They could write a book on treason. And the idea is that at the bottom of all this is the fear. Now, we talk about the fear of God, and that's a good idea. You should fear God, and you should say so. I do. I tell you right now, he's terrifying. He's dreadful, but in a good way. Like the warrior champion. He just advertises all over. Don't mess with me. But he's good. And the idea is that when we have this idea of a grinder and the old man is going to be destroyed, that's me, we keep forgetting that the problem was separation. So when Adam sinned, the living God said he would die, that if he did so, he would die. Well, Adam kept breathing. Did God lie? Was he an idiot? No. Adam died in the spirit. He was torn from God and alienated from his Father, alienated from the only one who really knew him at all. I mean, inside and out. The God, the living God, knows us better than we do. He made us. He designed us. He built us, and he developed us to make us the way we really are. It was his idea. So when we look out at the world and realize everything's crazy, it's just full of terrible ideas and traitors, and we need some good news. And then the idea was, well, let's think about death. But that is the good news. Jesus Christ introduced into this world a new thing, the kingdom, aka the king. The king showed up, and he's making huge changes. But the main change is the divorce. The divorce decree has ended. There's peace between man and God now in Christ, based on his word, based on his work, based on his person. And by the way, make time just today, just sit down and listen to the book of Matthew for 10 minutes on this algorithm. It'll clear your head up. Wash your ears out with that stuff. And when we have the situations brewing up where everything looks like dark and ugly and the world's losing its mind, and the WHO treaty, is it going to go? Is it going to die? Turley says it's already dead. Well, I still have my doubts. If they can get even a weakened, watered down, nothing burger version through the door, they will, because that's one foot in the door, and that's all they need eventually. And that's vigilance, I think, would be a wise idea. But the death is over now. And so there's a reconstitution back to the idea is union with Christ, union with God in Christ. And so we're connected now as individuals and as a group. There's a vast body being gathered from around the world and across the age, from every tribe and tongue and nation, and he will bring them into one body, essentially a bride for his son. And we're going to be reconstituted, but in that reconstitution, when they stand up again, resurrect, we'll have an ability and capacity which right now we can't even imagine. And yet that's the truth. That's the situation on the ground here. And so we have to master our fears. I will die. But in this context, the context of a resurrection, a life, a death, and then a new life. In other words, we have to have a hope for the future, because nothing in this world will give you hope. Trust me, it's ugly. So on a Wednesday morning, as you're going into the job, I'm going to have to tackle a big one, a weirdo. I'm going to be tunneling around underground, cutting cast iron like this with a grinder. It's going to be weird, but I think I can make her go. But when we look to these challenges and these problems and all the crazy stuff that's going on, and it looks so hopeless, remember, at the end, there is a cohesive answer. We shall be raised again. It is the belief of the church. We have been given life anew, eternal life, and we have it now. So make your Wednesday a good day, a day where the good news percolates in, and whether you're going to die or not, I hope not. Whether I die today, I kind of doubt it, but I have no idea. But as we wake up and get going, we live today as if this was my last day. So live it well. Treat people right. Go out of your way to be polite. It's your last day on earth. and wouldn't it be great to go out with an approval from those around you in terms of, their appraisal of faith in you, or reliability, or humility, or truthfulness, something. In other words, we're building a track record. Let's build a good one. And boy, well, I need help with that. And that's the point. That's why he came. It's real. Tune in. Come on in. And the door's going to close soon. Don't wait for that. Trust me. Have a good day. Bye-bye.